Okay folks, this one's extremely tiny. Let's see if we can make this one turn up a treat. Today's Sunday. Wonder when the ice cream van's going to come, if it's going to come today or if they found they didn't make any major sales last weekend. They, may not want to come round here again for now. Photocopier is running rough, but I know this machine's pretty old. Even though I haven't used it heavily, I don't think I've used it to its maximum capacity or close to it, but it still sounds pretty rough. The sound of the machinery does change over time. Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. Let's see what we have to demo with. We have here, I think it's a piece of balloon and a string. This kind of shit would definitely could end up in a sea creature's mouth or a bird, and they'll end up really sick and end up dying because of it. This is what I hate about fucking balloons. You know, they're fucking useless once they've popped or they're deflated, and whatever happens first, popping or deflating, it's just so bad for the environment. And yet people still treat them as if they're a necessary staple for your birthday party or any kind of party or festivity, and it's really quite not necessary. They're not the most attractive things in my mind. I don't find them aesthetically pleasing. I actually hate them. They just look plasticky and rubbery. I don't like it. But most people seem to think they're nice and that they're an important part of a festivity. But I don't regard them as important. I do wonder maybe if I keep it like that. Now, that looks really quite interesting. To wonder, maybe I'll keep it horizontal. But yeah, they're just such a nuisance to the environment, and yet people just love them. And I just hate the look of them. They're just so rubbery and plasticky and bright. I just don't like that look. I don't have a need for them, and I do hope that if I ever have a birthday party that people will omit them from my fucking celebration. Although I don't have a social life, folks. It's one thing I don't actually have is an actual social life. I'm totally committed to my work here on this TV campaign with my photocopier, and also public photocopiers as well. So I'm just what's known as a toner head. Toner head is another word for a photocopier nerd. Sorry about the rhyme. And toner heads are the people that can build the best copier systems that man has ever seen, but they're not given a chance because companies like this one, Konica Minolta, and all companies, to my knowledge, don't want these people in the industry to make a difference. They just want to make a quick, obscene dollar, and they don't care about the environment, and they don't care about the usability. Oh, they try to make it usable. Some companies like Konica Minolta have tried to make some vain effort to make their equipment usable by cutting out the features, and I've lost the fucking settings. But basically they don't seem to have an appreciation that if we had more toner heads running the industry, we would have a better quality product, and they don't seem to care. And the way photocopiers should be designed is that the hardware should be made to last at least 60 years, not the usual 5 years for spare parts and servicing and consumables. And basically the software is the part that's got to change. We've got to have software upgrades like on your phone, but basically better than that. And you've got to have like artificial intelligence built into the equipment. Even this entry level machine should have the artificial intelligence, and basically we won't have all these fancy features on the basic build or the basic factory features. We have the things like enlargement and density control and double-sided copying and shit like that. Even the document feeder should be an add-on, not a fucking factory thing. So there's got to be a better way to make a photocopier both user-friendly and versatile without sacrificing usability or what's the word? Flexibility. So yeah, to make it more flexible without making it too complicated, and to make it simple without making it too simple. So you've got to have the best of both worlds, and artificial intelligence is what we need to bring out the best. And basically you can have apps that are like apps in your app store, like an iTunes or like a Google Play store, and you can buy different special effects. You can buy add-on features to make your machine more versatile and customized, instead of have this one-size-fit-all shit. Because it'd be good to have machines for both entry-level people and people who are power users like myself. Now that looks really quite nice, that colour, that pattern there. I was thinking of keeping the string as part of the feature. I actually think this looks good on its own. But basically, yeah, we've got to make the equipment really user-friendly without detracting from the ability to make fine adjustments. And you can also have a manual mode, and basically you can have a manual mode for power users like myself who really want to trip the light fantastic, so to speak, when it comes to making art with a photocopier, for example. But basically, how should I put it? And the artificial intelligence that's already built into the machine, it should be able to, I'll just check, this is what we did the last one before we just did this one. And we just did this one. But basically we've got to basically have the artificial intelligence to be able to adapt to whatever conditions it's operating under. So if you want, it has to adapt not just to what's on the machine, the factory set features like the enlargement, the double-sided, and the basic features, but basically it has to adapt to power user features, so that entry-level people can get access to power user features to make it simpler for them to utilise them. So we've got to basically change the way the machinery is made. And yeah, so, and basically coming back to the hardware's got to be made out of recycled materials. Instead of mined or what they call virgin materials, we don't make it out of virgin materials anymore. We make it out of recycled materials from waste dumps overseas, especially the e-waste dumps in places like China and India, where heaps of e-waste gets dumped by first world nations. You know, really stupid. And we just have to mine the dumps, and we could clean up these countries. And we could also, I think Australia could do with a clean up as well, but I'd like to help these other countries to clean up, because they got so many. China and India are so heavily populated. You know, they need as much water they can drink and as much tillable land as possible. I think that's the right term for being able to make crops, tillable. So we got to make the world a better place for these countries, these developed or developing countries. It's not fair for them that they have to take our waste and choke on it, so to speak. It's not fair for them, you know, folks. So we have to fucking make the world a better place for everyone. And basically that's one of the things I'd like to do, would be to mine the tips of the world so that the water can be drinkable and the land workable. You know, you can grow crops and all that sort of shit without the threat of poisoning, toxicity and shit. So I just imagine a brighter world, and I want to be a philanthropist and give money away generally to help others. I'm not the kind of person that wants to be greedy and fucked up. I want to make the world a better place, and I really do, folks, even though it seems like it's not going to happen, and the rich people of our world control our world, and they don't seem to have any fucking cares about what they're doing to our planet. I'm just wondering if I'm going to change this. So yeah, and also when we're going to make this machine down under on Australian soil. It's going to be Australian made, Australian designed, Australian made and Australian owned. And the only things that are not Australian about this company would be the materials we import from overseas, like India and China, for example. Although we will hire some migrants as well. Some migrants will get to work in our factory. I do think it might be nice for some skilled or migrants to come down and work there as well, so they can have an opportunity to work with this Australian made, owned and operated, Australian designed, made and whatever, folks, sorry, it sounded a bit silly. But yeah, I really want to make this Australian, but I do want to have sort of like help the world, make the world a better place, not just Australia. That's the thing, even though it's going to be pretty well Australian, almost Australian through and through, I'm not interested in just keeping the benefits for us. It's got to help the world. So yeah, nearly there, I nearly got it right. So let's see how we go with this. Of course, if you come from overseas, you'd have to become a naturalised Australian. But once you become naturalised, you should be able to work in this company. Of course, you're going to have good English. But basically, you know, migrants are welcome, and it's good to live in Australia and to work in Australia. So yeah, opportunities exist, folks. They exist. Let's see how we go. So this is starting to look really nice. But yeah, we do have to make the world a better place, and we have to give most of our money away to help others, to help other nations. And basically, yeah, what can I say? And basically, I want to give most of my money away. I'm not interested in just giving away 10%. I want to give away at least 95% of what I earn as the company's CEO. and I want to make the world a better place. And the people in the factory, incidentally, getting back to the factory, well, the people in the factory, just because they're migrants and they might come from countries that do this, that there's not going to be any slave labour in our factory. We're not going to treat anyone, migrant or Australian, or naturalised Australians, people who are migrants, become Australians, and that's what we want. But I'm talking Australians that are born in Australia are not going to get privileges over those people who've been naturalised and who work as skilled migrants coming to our country to settle. And they're not going to be treated any worse than the fucking Australian-born citizens. We're going to treat them equal. They're going to have the same privileges and the same perks as any Australian who was born on our soil. So basically we have to fucking make the factory, everyone gets paid the right amount of pay. They get paid a little bit more than what they're worth. No slave labour. Slave labour, fuck it. No, not slave labour. We treat everyone, migrant or otherwise, equally, and we make sure that everyone gets paid the right amount, not slave. So there you have it. We'll end on that note, and this has come up looking really nice. I think we can now call this demo quits.